Why don't kings play Breakout? Because they prefer Monarch Annoyed. Welcome to the stream, my friends. Happy Wednesday. Thank you for being here. A little bit of a later start, but I'm very grateful to have you with me tonight. We have Dead Zergling first in chat, followed by Meow Mommy Bree. Cows are important. Loose and Jelly and Game and Fit. Welcome in all. Welcome in, my friends. I hope you're doing well today. And, nope, I refuse, Game and Fit says. I think that's a pretty smart joke, Jelly says. Well, thank you, Jelly. I felt alright about that one. $50 hours. We're getting, we're very close. Not enough alien engineer, Game and Fit says. Chozo, welcome in. 5 streams. Thank you for the watch streak, Chozo. So we are gonna play a little bit of Jump King tonight. Might only play about an hour and a half of Jump King instead of our full 2 hours. We'll see how it goes. If it goes really well, we'll go a little longer. But if I'm still down here at the bottom of the world, at the hour and a half mark, somewhere around there, might wrap this one a little bit earlier so that we can spend more time down in the well. Because our second game tonight is Animal Well, a game that I have been very much enjoying. That's not to say it's completely without challenges and frustrations, because there's definitely some parts that make me want to pull my hair out, but that's all right. I wouldn't want to sail cleanly through any game I play, right? If it's not at least an occasional whirlwind of brutality, how can I possibly enjoy it? How can I possibly enjoy myself? Animal Well is delightful, and I think that I suspect that probably at least a portion of my problems are self-inflicted from doing the game wrong or misunderstanding something. But it's a beautiful and charming game. It's got a lot of surprise. It's got a lot of jump scare. Not like manufactured jump scares, but just surprising things can happen that have me on edge. And some of the animals that you encounter are really like terrifying monsters. I'm never gonna look at an ostrich. I'm never gonna look at an ostrich the same way again. I never thought ostriches were scary before, and now they're like top of my list of scary animals. Chozo says, mostly lurking. My ear doesn't work right now, so I can barely hear anything. I hope, I wish you a speedy recovery, Chozo. Hey, Derek, welcome in. Happy Wednesday, and welcome to Jump King. I was a little late getting moving tonight, so you are right at the start of the stream. We're just getting started tonight. You convinced me to get Animal Well. I hope you enjoy it as much as I have. I've had a really fun time with it so far. Another day, another 10K. GG, Game and Fit. Very well done. No long walks for me, but I did spend a couple hours at my yard work endeavors. Scooped up I don't know, a lot of I've got this pile that's like several years worth of pine cones and branches that never got addressed. So I've been scooping them into a wheelbarrow and taking them back to the wilderness at the edge of our property. I don't really know what else to do with them other than just shuffle them around. to just shuffle them around to another part of the property where they're more well hidden. Took down some limbs that have been poking me in the face when I walk around at night. So it wasn't it's baby steps, little by slowly. It was like an hour and a half worth of work today. And it looks like I did basically nothing. But I know I did something. I can see where the changes are, so I know they're there. No idea what's wrong with the ear. 2 doctors refused to spend a minute to look at it. Give me antibiotics, hasn't done anything. Seeing another one tomorrow. Going to give the names of those doctors to this doctor. I'm sorry for the struggle, Chozo. Hopefully 3rd time is the charm. It's getting harder each day, Game and Fit says. It feels like I've done 1,000 squats every single time. I mean, there is rest and recovery are important too. I don't want to be a devil on your shoulder. But I also don't want to hear that you've worked yourself into injury. Started watching the Lord of the Rings show, Derek says. So far it's okay. I want to watch it before Season 2 comes out. Yeah, I didn't make time for that. I don't really know much about it, but I didn't hear a lot of overwhelmingly positive reviews. I don't have any time for R&R. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself, Game and Fit. I definitely, you've been doing well, and I wouldn't want to throw you off track. Recovery is equally as important as hard work. You are right, though. What's for dinner? What do we have tonight? We had chicken. I had chicken, broccoli, and beets. We had baked chicken breast with boiled broccoli and beets. Might not sound super exciting, but it's actually really good. The chicken was pretty dull. The chicken was pretty dull and lifeless, but that's all right. My favorite part of the meal is the broccoli. I love broccoli. I could eat my weight in buttered broccoli. Which you would think would be really just saying that I love butter, which, don't get me wrong, I do. But I do actually go very sparingly on the butter for my broccoli. So, while I do love butter, I also do legitimately love broccoli. The beets are kind of just okay. Jelly is more the fan of the beets than I am. They're fine. They're just a bit earthy for my taste. Sounds great. It's good. It's sort of it's simple, nutritious food. I love the trilogy, even though they were really long movies, Derek says. Oh yeah, I'm actually a really big fan of The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. I read I watched the Rankin and Bass movie when I was a kid, and that made a huge impression on me. And then I read the books when I was in middle school. Between middle school and high school, I think I started them at the end of middle school and finished them at the beginning of high school. And then, Peter Jackson's movies came out. They're fantastic. So I do really love Tolkien's work. I didn't bother with the Hobbit movies, though. And I don't know. I don't feel like I need the Amazon series. I don't need a lot of bonus content. I saw the first. I saw the first of the Hobbit movies, and it was all right. I wasn't crazy about it. It definitely didn't stand up to the Lord of the Rings. It looked weird. I don't know, it runs at like 48 frames a second or something. There's something, I don't know exactly what it is. That might be it. Or I might be mistaken. There's something, the movie just looks weird. It's difficult to watch. Because it looks weird. But I didn't get around to the other two. As much as I hate saying it, I wish I could work harder, but I don't want to overdo it, Game and Fit says. Slow and steady, Game and Fit. If you're feeling like really worn out now, if you stick with it, eventually we'll be able to work like super hard without wearing yourself out too much or injuring yourself. But probably don't want to dive immediately into that, right? My dinner was fish, toast, and apples with honey. That sounds really good. I've been really wanting to make some fish, but I don't have fish very often because Jelly doesn't eat it. And so if I make myself a fish dinner, then I have to make two separate dinners. And that's like, well, do I want fish badly enough to make 2 dinners tonight? And the answer is usually no. My favorite Powerpuff Girls episode is when the attack eat broccoli. I don't know if there's a word missing there. I'm gonna let you down there though. I don't actually know the Powerpuff Girls very well. I haven't really seen much of anything of the show. I have played a lot of the games. I can't really, like, I don't know much about the Powerpuff Girls show, but I know a lot about Powerpuff Girls video games. Most of them are terrible. But there are some good ones. The Game Boy Advance games are pretty good. Mojo Jojo A Go-Go is really decent. It's like an on-rails shooter type game, and it's a little janky. It got a little frustrating at the end, but mostly it's pretty good. Maybe not my genre. And the other one on the Game Boy Advance, Him and Seek, is fantastic. It's like an adventure game where you explore and look for items. It's a scavenger hunt is basically the plot. Yeah, but it's great. I would very much be willing to play that game again. That game was a ton of fun. The rest of them are all terrible though. The Game Boy Color games are terrible. The PlayStation game is terrible. The Game Boy Color games were almost good, but they made there's 1 or 2 design decisions they made that really make those games frustrating. I mean, they're janky and unpolished to begin with, so, but they could have had like a rough around the edges, like charming quality to them. If they just done like 2 things differently, but instead they're kind of nightmarish. They're really painful to play through. But the Game Boy Advance games are good. They're worth playing. Hobbit and Lord of the Rings is my comfort series right there, Game and Fit says. Big Harry Potter fan too. Considering starting a hobby now, reading them as well. Jelly is a really big Harry Potter fan, and I'm a decently sized fan. You know, I read those books at a very impressionable and formative time, so they're very the books are very close to my heart. The movies are watchable. Though the movies kind of vary in quality. They're okay. I can sit through all 8 of them easily enough, though. not really interested in any of the bonus content from Harry Potter either, though. We've got the books. We've got the Harry Potter books on Audible, and they stay pretty well in rotation on our in our car. Powerpuff Girls, insanely underrated, Chozo says. Oh, EpiPen, welcome in. I don't know if I said welcome in to you, but very grateful to have you here, as always. So much of the chat, I'm so far behind. Let me catch up real quick. Battle for Middle-earth 2. I want to play, there's a Hobbit video game on the GameCube. I want to play through that at some point on the stream. Yeah, the first Hobbit movie is very weird looking. I'm picky with fish. Don't like stuff like tuna and salmon. I like both of those. Made some sous vide pork butt. 24 hours in the tank before we took it out and seared it. Right on. I've never experimented with sous vide. I don't have the equipment. Or you said that comment about the small hose game and fit. I read that as small horse. I'm afraid to read because everyone I see who is an avid reader wears glasses. I don't want to strain my eyes. The Kindle lets me make the letters bigger, so I might stick with that. I think I actually started wearing glasses before I became an avid reader. And I'm not really much of an avid reader. I go through phases. I'll have a stretch where I'll read a whole lot, and then I'll have a long stretch where I read nothing. Audiobooks are nice. You can rest your eyes and let them tell you a story. And YouTube has a ton of them for free. They're good for having on when you have other things to do too. I don't have a house. I'm in a condo, so it's basically an apartment. I have to make do with what I can, and sous vide and toaster ovens, etc. are tools I can use. Fair enough. Fish is so healthy. I read a funny comment the other day. Game and Fit says, someone's grandma says, if you want to be healthy, if it tastes good, spit it out. Yeah, the small horse that cleans your ears. Reading causes eye cancer, Zergling says. Sous vide is nice because it's pretty much impossible to overcook. You can leave a steak cooking at 135 for hours or days, and it'll just become more and more tender. Which at some points can be a bad thing. When we finally have a new house, I'll have a smoker and a grill. Right on. I love making grilled food, but it does take a significant amount of work. It's not always easy to convince myself to go through the hassle of grilling, though I do love the product. No, we were close. Life is bad. Life is very bad. I'm gonna take my phone with me and listen to audiobooks while I walk tomorrow. Kill two birds with one stone. Right on. When we lived in Houston, I would go out very late at night and walk around the apartment complex listening to audiobooks, probably making all my neighbors nervous. It was a really good and enjoyable habit to have, though. I'm impressed with your Jump King skills, even if they're not all perfect. Well, thank you. I'm definitely far from perfect. If anything, I can at least sear outside and not have to worry about smoke so much, EpiPen says. Right there, I would say nope, done for the day, but Frownie presses on. It's the only way to make it to the top. I know I'll win eventually. As long as the only thing I have to do, the only thing I really have to do is just not give up. Everything else, like, I can play as badly as I want and make as many mistakes as I want. The only way I lose is if I'm unwilling to put in the time. Fluctuating luck. It does take quite a bit of luck. But the thing about that is, you see, eventually you exhaust every wrong way to do something, and then you accidentally do it right. His stats are strength 0, agility 0, intelligence 25, persistence 100, patience 100, luck 0. I'm very grateful that you decided for some reason to inflate my intelligence stat. That's very kind of you. I'd say luck is at -50, Zergling says. I do sometimes have pretty stunningly bad luck. Not always, but there are times when bad luck befalls me in ways that I'm pretty sure are statistically impossible. I don't think during the hardest of times Frownie lets his stress reach 10 out of 10. Maybe 6 out of 10 during times of Dr. Evil and that dolphin game that for some reason evades my memory. Oh, Echo. Yeah, Echo is very high stress. Echo was very much like Jump King. Echo was just about as demoralizing as Jump King was. Six eggs over easy. 2 Shaquille O'Neal half-pound Angus beef burger patties. I saw that you shared those. I meant to ask you how those were. Because the box, I didn't understand. I was a little confused because I didn't understand from... Like, I thought it was an entire frozen burger. I didn't understand it was just the patties, and I was like, well... Everything that's not the meat is going to be useless for Zergling. No, I had chicken and broccoli and beets tonight. No tacos. I finally ran out of taco meat. Came across the military diet, Game and Fit says. It made me realize my portion sizes are just way too big. It can be easy to overdo it. I should know. I've definitely been guilty of eating over large portion sizes. You just put all my I just put all my remaining points in intelligence. Still cooking the patties. They're thick puppies, taking forever. Oh, so you haven't actually sampled one yet. It's just coming up. I used the password one way to the top for a short time. It became a mantra since I had to type it over and over and helped me to stay confident, EpiPen says. That's a good idea. What about this idea of using your password as a mantra? The guy made his password saving up for a boat or something. That's not a terrible idea. I might think about stealing that idea. Next time I have to go through and update all my passwords. Think of some goals and inspiring messages. Usually a byproduct is that it ends up being a long password and fairly secure. You could use one way to the top now that I'm done with it. Have you played the Impossible Password game? It's fantastic. I have not, Game and Fit. I don't believe I've heard of this game. Am I allowed to talk about something they intended on doing in Dark Souls 3, but didn't do, Chozo says? That's an interesting question. Okay, Chozo, sure. Yeah, cut content or I'll give you the okay for this one. I appreciate you. I appreciate you asking first. Always good to be very cautious. Dark Souls 3 is going to take me so long to get to. But I really do honestly and sincerely want to try and begin Dark Souls 2 before this year is over. I've made strides to make it happen. Make scammers try and beat the game live, the impossible password game. I wanted to implement a place your own bonfire system. It could have been a great idea. They did something like that in another game. I held back on finishing the thought because I was like, well, maybe that's a spoiler I don't want to give out. I don't know. I don't know how I would feel. I think I would feel pretty negative about place your own bonfire. I mean, it would be super useful, but I feel like it would be too useful. One of the great things about Dark Souls 1 was how horrible it was to have to run back from the bonfire to the boss. Every time I failed, I'd have to go all the way back through this gauntlet of enemies before I'd even get another try. If you're able to, like, just drop a bonfire outside the boss door, I mean, that would be pretty weak, I think. Bloodborne is my favorite modern game, along with Hollow Knight, Chozo says. I don't know what my favorite modern game is. The thing about, like, more modern games is, like, I tend to only play them once. And so it's harder to develop favorites. I mean, there's plenty of games that I really liked. But it's It's hard for a game to enter, like, my pantheon of favorites until I've played it several times, and I never really replay anything modern, typically. Jump King is probably my favorite modern game. I've beaten it. I've beaten it 3 times, so that says a lot, right? Favorite Nintendo modern games are Metroid Dread and DK Tropical Freeze. Amazing games. I've heard Tropical Freeze is great. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. I gotta do DKC 3. Then we got the land games I want to finish up. And Returns and Tropical Freeze. I think that covers the series. DK64 belongs in there somewhere as well. DK64 is a bit intimidating. I know that's going to be a very long, painful playthrough. The sound effect when you land after falling. The splat sound effect. There's plenty of opportunities to enjoy it. Metroid Dread was really good. I enjoyed it quite a bit. But it's just, yeah, it's just with modern games, there's so many of them I just feel like I'll never play them again. So it's, I'll tell you a game I loved. Kirby and the Forgotten Land. I loved that game. That game was fantastic. Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Maybe that's my favorite modern game. It's a strong contender for like my favorite Switch game that, like, you know, is exclusively a Switch game, like made for the Switch. That was a really good game. Yeah, a lot of that's you know, yeah, the fact that most of the games are longer is part of why I won't replay them. Hey Greg, welcome in. But that's like I mean that's just it's sort of like a like a cycle thing there with it. Because yeah, it usually takes several playthroughs before I like am really solid about where I stand on a particular game. I tend to be slow to warm up to things, and we made it back to the cat tower. Let's go. This is only like what the 6th time I've climbed back up here. That's a bit of an exaggeration, but it doesn't feel like much of one. Hey, Loyal, welcome in. You came in at a great time. Hope all is well for you tonight. Breath of the Wild is my favorite. Tears of the Kingdom had a lot of improvements and many new monsters, but the raw challenge you get from the first game is just chef's kiss. Yeah, I would say that I like Tears of the Kingdom more than Breath of the Wild. I could say that. Breath of the Wild was great, but Tears of the Kingdom kind of replaced it for me. How's your night been? My night's going really well right now, Loyal. We're on the verge of, well, we got some of our Jump King progress back. I was gonna say, like, we're on the verge of progress, but really what we're on the verge of is on the verge of losing our progress and being back down in the bog again. But it's nice to be up here while it lasts. I'm gonna try and live in the moment and enjoy it. Meowvelous. My night is relaxing. Been busy, but doing good. Good to hear. Good to hear. Yeah, Tears of the Kingdom, it was just, I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun using the building giant bridges to nowhere, and when I figured out that, like, after I figured out that, like, a solid 85% of the game can be cheesed with a semi-clever use of the time travel mechanic, then I was just having good times all around. By cheesed, I mean alternate solution to the puzzles that's way more difficult than the intended one. Well, I kind of mean, what's the opposite of cheese? Melted cheese. Frownie's favorite power was the time reverse, which was voted as the player's least favorite power. That is unbelievable to me. That is unbelievable to me. No one figure out that you can break everything in the game with the time travel? It's so much fun. There was one shrine where I rode a time reversed floating platform under a locked door so that I could leap up through the floor and skip every puzzle in the game. in the entire shrine. It was fantastic. Don't like the recall ability either. Keep forgetting I have it, Greg says. Oh, it's so great, though. Is it really cheesing it if you're making it more difficult? Well, yeah, that was, I was trying to expound upon that myself. My first day, I put the game in pro mode and didn't know how to unglue items. On the very first shrine you play, I had a melted mess. I got everything stuck together. I left the shrine in shame and came back in. The thing that I kept forgetting that I have is the thing that lets you jump up through the ceiling. I had a hard time remembering that ability existed. That was probably my least favorite ability. I don't remember what it's called. Promo doesn't show you the controls, so shaking items to unstick them wasn't shown on my screen. It was so funny watching Link flailing wildly trying to get them unstuck. I don't know, I feel like I must not have realized there was a pro mode option when I played. Because I can't imagine I would have seen it and decided not to play it. I don't know. Maybe I don't think maybe I didn't know that that removes tutorials. Because yeah, I wish I'd known about that at the time. I imagine I could have gotten into a lot of trouble not being handed directions in Tears of the Kingdom. No pro mode in this, Loyal. We're talking about we were talking about Tears of the Kingdom. It removes the entire HUD except the health bar. You have to figure out everything out and discover everything for yourself. I would have told you, but you know, spoilers and stuff. Yeah, no worries, no worries. I don't remember, I don't remember ever seeing the option for it. This game doesn't need a pro mode. That's true. In the long run, it's probably best, because had I known about and started that game in the pro mode, it probably just would have turned a 300-hour playthrough into a 900-hour playthrough. I'd probably still be working on Tears of the Kingdom with no end in sight. I mean, I guess if that's the password, I guess that's a nightmare of a password. I don't know this game or understand at all how it's supposed to work. I just assume it's a game where you sit around trying to guess a password, but that doesn't sound particularly thrilling to me. Downwell. Yeah, I feel like I should try and play Downwell. gives you criteria, but if you fit the criteria, it adds more criteria. I think this is something I'd have to see to understand. Fall Guys looked like it would, it looked like it would have been pretty fun, but it took way too long to come to the Switch, so I never, tried it out. Give a number, that's a year, that adds up to 25. List a month, use Roman numerals. Include the next best move in chess notation. This sounds... I think this game is not for me. What is that? Hey, my Lexi, welcome in. Not so much a game, really. It's a parody of obnoxious password requirements on websites. What? My laundry is done. I need to remember to dry that after the stream. Yeah, I'm familiar with the name, though I've never really watched any of his stuff. It comes up in my recommended sometimes. Um, because, I mean, almost certainly because I've watched Atomic Shrimp do, do videos on scams. But I don't really follow the genre. This is going pretty alright, but we're probably gonna switch gears here in about 10 minutes. Hopefully I'll still be up here, so that we'll be able to come back to this instead of the bog tomorrow night. And an uncle of mine likes to do that. He's retired with plenty of time and is a legitimate old person, so he's rather convincing, Cow says. But he's worked in tech as long as tech has been tech, so he isn't susceptible to scams and knows how to mess with them. Spends hours doing it as entertainment. Yeah, the scam baiting thing gets pretty samey after a while for me. I get a bunch of random calls about diabetes products. I don't have diabetes, Demon Fit says. I just get, I don't really get scam calls or emails. I just get scam texts. I get texts from people telling me they've won the lottery and want to share their winnings with me. I get scam texts like that all the time. But that's pretty much it. By all the time, I mean like twice a week. I overpaid you in bits, Frownie. I need you to get a Google gift card and repay me, please. You're in luck, EpiPen. I think I have some leftover iTunes gift cards from when I paid my overdue taxes earlier this year. I get a lot of texts about how USPS has my package and urgently needs me to click the link for one reason or another. Oh, I get those too, cows. Yeah. There's some, the address was incomplete, so my package can't be delivered. It's probably a good thing none of these packages ever make it to me. I wouldn't have room in my house to store them all. Sounds like it's way more common in the US. I get like maybe one bogus call in a year, my Lexi says. I don't think I've ever had a scam text. Very occasional calls, maybe one or two a year, some emails, but I systematically blocked all the senders. Yeah, I never get emails at all. I mean, I probably do. They probably just like filtered into my trash or whatever, and I just never look, like my spam folder. So I'm sure I get them, but but they're all blocked by the spam filter, so I never see them. So in my actual inbox, I never get anything. I would get, I've had calls, I've had like scam calls in the past, but for the past like few years, I can't remember the last time I actually received one. It's been so long. But the texts I get. I get scam snail mail though. I get all kinds of, ever since I bought a house, I get scam snail mail all the time. I get mail pretending to be my bank. No physical scam mail either. Well, I mean, I never got that until I bought a home, and now I get it all the time. That's something like pretty much every other day I can expect some scam letter in my mailbox. There was someone whose gravestone read, "I didn't forward the email to 50 of my friends." Plot twist: EpiPen actually is Brad Pitt. I want to know who all these PayPal Sotheby packages are. I'm worried about my roommate. He got served papers for hitting a car recently and a letter from the IRS. He is a trouble magnet, I'm telling you, Game and Fit says. Oh, I mean, if those are legit, that sounds like that does sound like some pretty big trouble. I hate it when you're looking for a job and the scammers from LinkedIn are playing on you. I get invitations to join LinkedIn all the time, but I've never actually, I've never used it. The little old lady I purchased my house from gets scam letters all the time. It's been years and the scammers haven't caught on that she's moved, Cal says. Same cows, but the previous occupants of my home are both deceased. So I really don't think that the scammers are going to be hearing anything from either of them. Apples are the most distinguished sounding food of all time. Oh, the most distinguishable. I thought you were. Well, first I read that as disgusting sounding food, and then when I realized it was distinguished, I thought you were saying that apples are a rather classy fruit. As Brad Pitt, I have to be eating something in the scene, EpiPen says. I did not know that was one of his traits. I'm pretty useless when it comes to actor trivia, though. Indubitably, the hoity-toity apple is delicious and very highbrow, Cal says. The apples are sophisticated foods reserved for only the finest of gentlemen. I have a check mark next to my name, and that means I'm a very important person. I got my old electric guitar back up off the wall. Studying wiring diagrams, I bought some parts to replace the knobs. As a throwback to a Convo raw back, been motivated from that. Looking forward to getting the parts and fixing it tomorrow. Right on. Getting ready for a little soldering. Did a bunch to otherwise refurbish. It snapped a couple soldered wires when I opened it up. This will finish the job. My first electric guitar I bought when I was in college. I'm really an acoustic guy. My skills and the styles of music that I tend to play lend themselves much more to acoustic than electric. But I bought an electric guitar when I was in college, and it had wiring issues. So that was like my first soldering experience was working on that guitar. It was an Alvarez AE5, I think it was. Sort of a super strat. I never really I never really liked it that much. I don't know. I didn't end up connecting with it how I'd hoped. And I went through a few different guitars. I had a couple Les Pauls over the years, and I eventually settled on what I have now is it's a Telecaster Custom with two P90s in it. And I'm very fond of it, although my electric guitar skills are virtually non-existent. I'm pretty worthless when it comes to like playing lead and the things that electric guitars are useful for. Found a music store recently. I love music stores, Game and Fit says. If I had an extra 30 grand lying around, no doubt, I'd buy a concert grand piano by none other than Steinway and Sons. New pickup covers, keys, completely clean, new knobs. This will finish it up. This is a PV Predator, my first guitar. Just want to refurbish and sell it. I got a new Jackson with a Floyd Rose last year. Try not to be a hoarder. The refurb job is part of the letting go process for me. I can relate to the hoarding. I wish I could relate to the trying not to part. And guitars are awesome. Game Infant says getting the calluses on my fingers necessary to play them properly was never my cup of tea. Just takes a little while. I only played Stairway to Heaven up until it starts rocking out. I drove people in guitar class crazy playing the same thing over and over and over. Yep, I can play as much of Stairway as it is mandatory for every guitarist to learn. Oh yeah, yeah. No, you can. No, you can certainly play rhythm on electric. That's not to suggest that you can't or shouldn't. But what I'm, when what I'm mostly play is like, I'm very much rooted in the cowboy chord sort of region of the guitar. And there's something, an electric guitar really makes you want to understand, be able to understand and explore the fretboard in ways that I just can't. Here's the trick, though. After fixing it up, I'll just charge more than anyone will be willing to pay so that I'll get to keep it. You wouldn't be the first. The PV Predator is also a Strat clone like your Alvarez. I don't actually know the Predator. I kind of just assumed that it was sort of a super strat with based on the name. But I don't know, like, I can't picture it in my head. The thing about strats is, one, I have no use for a trim system. Um, I don't like I like hardtail. I like a hardtail bridge, and I really I prefer guitars that string through the body. But yeah, no trim systems for me. And the real thing about strats that gets me is the knobs and the volume, the knobs and the pickup switch are just in my way. I can't not bang my hand against them, so I don't like them for that reason. I don't like the switch placement on a telly either. I like the Les Paul layout with with all the knobs and selector out of the way. But I do like the telly body, so the custom it is. That's the guitar for me. Or the deluxe, yeah, but they're basically the same, which is weird. Like, I don't know what makes mine a custom and not a deluxe. I mean, they're the same. They're the same guitar, except one has a single coil, but mine doesn't have. have, but mine doesn't have the traditional single coil or humbuckers. It's got two P90s, so it's really neither. All right, let me. My guitar teacher is the worst. What kind of teacher doesn't teach? Game and Fit says. I hear acoustic only people say I can't play electric, but never hear electric people say that about acoustic. Well, I mean, I'm really just using it when I say that I can't play the electric. I'm usually just saying it's usually just another way of saying I don't play lead. He also told me that there were a handful of students who were plotting to beat me up because of the Stairway to Heaven thing. Isn't it your job as a teacher to make sure that doesn't happen? I don't know. I don't know what was going on, Game and Fit. I don't think I would have gone back to that teacher. Hey, thank you for the alert, Christian Cool. I think it's about time. I think it's about time we switch gears, though. I'm glad we made it back up here. I'm having a lot of trouble getting back up to the tower for whatever reason. I feel very unfocused. So, you know, not that I play any better when I focus. It's always a mess with this game. But I think I've accomplished everything I'm going to tonight already. Oh, so this was like you were taking a guitar class like in school? In high school. I assumed it was like you were paying someone for lessons. It doesn't make it any less. It doesn't make the situation any less bizarre, though. All right, let me switch games. We'll play more Jump King tomorrow night. We'll actually be starting off in a good position for a change. When's the last time we started a Jump King night and we weren't down in the bog, right? So it'll be good. It'll be good tomorrow. We'll have a good chance at things not being horrible. But we're gonna switch games here. This is actually complicated because because of my desire to use the Super NES controller. So let's just clear away everything off the screen. The Super NES controller doesn't have a home button on it, is what is annoying. So then just to exit the game, I've got to switch controllers, and it's very goofy. Finish cooking and eating the burgers, Zergling says. Very good / tender. Much more so than Costco burgers. Very little gristle and oozing with just as much fat as Shaquille O'Neal's head. There might be a combination of buttons that work as a home button. I haven't figured it out if there is, though. It's alright. It's just... If you don't want your head compared to burger fat, you shouldn't let them put your head on a box of burgers. Oh. Alright, let me cut the recording here.